Well, good morning, champions. Welcome to the Breakfast of Champions call. This is your host and your speaker today, James Zhang, Chairperson Level 2 with Partner Co. And today I got a question for you. But where do you think most people fail their goals with their businesses, with their lives? Well, I'd submit to you that today, on January 14th, is the day called the International Quitters Day. And I want to submit to you a couple of points today that if you do not avoid, could be the end of your goals for this year. So I want to make sure that you overcome this barrier, you crush through it, and you're able to achieve all those amazing visions and God sized goals that you have in your business, in your life. So perk up your ears, take some good notes. I'm going to give you some practicals on this, on things that I'm doing in my own life to avoid this as well, too. But have you ever been off to a false start before? I'll tell you, it's been interesting because this year in 2025, I've been preparing, I believe, the most I've ever prepared in my business and my life to take down this year. We've declared this year as the year of freedom. I put myself out there with big vision statements. We got hundreds of our teammates aligned on their visions. And as prepared as I thought that I was, guess what happened? Even for me, the first week of 2025 laid me down on my back. My strategies, my schedule was completely off track. I didn't just falter on my goals. I was way super behind on my goals. And even for me, after you'd think for a long time doing this, I was very, very tempted to just quit and go back. But it was because I understood there's a couple of things to do to get yourself out of this rut. So I'm going to submit those to you. Whether you need that right now, or you have a teammate that needs it, or you might need this in the future, document these couple of ideas so that you can overcome it. Because now I'm back on track and life is super good and I'm doubling down. All right. So, number one question is this: you have to ask yourself this question when you falter. Is your vision still worth it? Is your vision still worth it? You see, sometimes when we falter, maybe it's a check. The saying is when the why is strong, the how becomes easy. And one of the biggest issues of why a lot of times we fail our goals is if we're being really honest with ourselves, the payoff of what it is we say that we want in our wellness goals, in our business goals, in our personal lives is actually not that worth it. You see, Les Brown says that people don't fail because they aim too high and they miss. They fail because they aim too low and they hit. So I want to challenge us once again in the beginning of this year, really look at your vision statement and really look and ask yourself, is it worth it? Because the reality is this: with any goal, there's going to be sacrifice, there's going to be pain, there's going to be disruption. It's just how life works. If you believe there's a God, then there's an enemy. If there's a good, then there's an evil. It is the dichotomy of life, the tension of life that makes it look so interesting. So if you know that you're going to be facing some type of challenge, you have to really answer for yourself, is it worth it? Some of us might need to look back on that and think, maybe I need to boost my goal. Don't compromise. Don't downplay the goal. That's the wrong direction. But if anything, some of us might need to expand the vision to a level that gets you excited and thrilled and willing to take the inevitable blows of life that are going to happen. And I'll tell you this as well too. You will get hit by life regardless if you have big goals or small goals. So might as well make sure that it's worth it. Does that make sense? So number one, ask yourself that question. Are your goals, is your vision truly worth it? And if it is, I'm going to assume it is, then let's go through some practicals and on what to do to make sure that you don't continue to stumble. The second thing to do is this then. Look to yourself and do a real self assessment and ask yourself, What were the stumbling blocks? What were the barriers? I'll give you some examples. Um, we started this year. We're in a wellness business. We're doing this cool body balance challenge. We're using our body balancing drops. We're tuning up our health. And my last week, I was like totally off, totally off on this. And you know what happened was I got tempted. I'll be honest. When I was stressed out, I went to the fridge. I'm just gonna throw myself under the bus, and I picked out the thing that was convenient and looked really tasty. And I'm like, I just need something right now because I'm going through some real stuff. Last week, I faced one of the biggest challenges of my life in my business career, a huge leadership shift that we were just on edge with and dealing with. So that caused me to be in a state of more stress than I wanted to. But because of that, I faltered on those health goals. I didn't go to the gym as much. I didn't drink my water. So look at your barriers. How about for your business? What were some of those barriers? I noticed that because I had red alert stuff and I was prioritizing that, I stopped prioritizing my own income producing activities. I wasn't prospecting new people. I wasn't sharing the product, sharing the opportunity with new people. I got into a management mode. I was just trying to hang on for dear life. So, how about in your business? What were barriers that happened? Notice the patterns. Because if you can notice the patterns, then you can actually build out some strategies to break through. Last part I'd look at as well too, you have your health, you have your wealth. How about for your personal life? One of my goals is I want to be an amazing husband, an amazing dad. And I would say ashamed to admit, but I'm not because there's no condemnation. By the way, if there's any shame or guilt, we rebuke that right now. It's a learning lesson, right? You either win or you learn. And I learned a lot this last week. So I look at my personal life. If I'm to be really honest, like I want to be present with my wife. I want to be present with my child. And I wasn't. I barely hung out with baby Jaden. I barely hung out with my wife. In fact, the only time I talked to Becky, my wife, was probably when I was trying to solve a problem. And that's not good to nurture a relationship. I was just bringing stress into there. So I realized that there were barriers that I would just throw out quality time because I was trying to solve the fires. So note down, what were those barriers? What were those breaking points? Do you have some in mind? If you're talking to someone, if you're in team chat, if you're watching this, put a me in the comments or say that to yourself, right? You too can break through, but you personally have to document where were those breaking points. Okay? Hope you're still with me. So are your goals still worth it? Then label these barriers. Okay, what do we do now? The next thing that I did is I wrote down my daily schedule. Have you noticed, maybe it's just me, but have you noticed that when you are going through a time that you feel overwhelmed, you feel overstressed, you feel overstretched, you feel like you don't have enough time in the day to do the things that you need to do? Right? How many times have we said to ourselves, I am so busy, or I have no time? I want to encourage and challenge you that from now on, any single time that you say that, use it as an opportunity to do an inventory about yourself. There's a mantra that I live by, which is that God gives you enough time to do everything that He wants you to do. So sometimes we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing, but He will always give you just enough time, in fact, more than enough time to do the things that He prioritizes. So if you ever feel overwhelmed or if you ever feel too stretched thin, then more than likely our schedule's out of whack and we're overemphasizing, over putting more too much stress on ourselves in the things that we feel we should do or shouldn't do. So what's the solution? The practical solution, literally write down your schedule. So this is what I did. I took, for me, I did an Excel sheet. You might like a calendar, whatever you want to do. And I documented, what do I actually do every single hour of the day? So for me, it's 5 a.m. in the morning. I try to wake up, depends. And then I usually sleep around 10 p.m. So I started putting in and I reviewed the tapes on what I was doing every day. And I put it from my head onto a piece of paper, onto a computer, whatever that it is. You see, if it's out of your mind and onto a piece of paper, then you can deal with it. But if it's jumbled up in your mind, then it gets all convoluted. So I started putting it down. When do I wake up? When do I go to the gym? When do I do my business? When am I doing my posts? Like, when am I doing my health habits? When am I doing my family time? I'm putting that all down. And you know what I realized? And this is probably what you're going to experience as well too. I realized that when I actually put it onto paper, I actually wasn't doing that much. Let's say it took me an hour to actually do a task. In my mind, it felt like it would take 3 hours. But when I actually put it onto a piece of paper, I'm like, it actually only would take 1 hour. You know what it is? The task took an hour. The struggle and the anxiety filled up the rest of the 2 hours. For most of us, most of the time that we're spending are in things that are not productive. Things that are not even not productive, they're probably actually destructive because we're wallowing in our sorrow. We are stressed out. We're worrying. We have anxiety. So when you put it onto a piece of paper, you put it onto a document, you literally draft out your schedule, you're going to start to actually see the truth of things, right? You have to put reality to things. And when you see that, and then you can organize it, you're like, okay, here we go. I see what I'm actually doing, and I see what I'm actually not doing. You're giving yourself a real inventory here. So are you going to write down your schedule? Are you going to pan it all out? Okay. Then what do you do? What I did is I then started to reorganize my schedule and make sure that it's optimized to fulfill all the things that I want to have. You see, you have your big vision. To accomplish any vision, it is a byproduct of your daily habits that you're doing. Of course, what you believe, what you think, how you feel, and it ends up to what you do. So, if you want to grow your business, if you want to acquire more customers, if you want to enroll more partners, question, are you doing daily business activity that will lead to that? Are you prospecting new people? Are you adding new friends? Are you engaging on people and building relationship of people that you knew before? Are you leading them to a presentation? Are you following up? Are you doing every single step daily that will lead you to getting that result? If you want to build your business, let's say you want to build your health. Do you have it in your schedule that you're going to eat a certain way, that you're going to take your supplements? For us, it's taking our drops. Are you having in your schedule how much water you're drinking? How much sleep you're getting? Are these all documented and do you have a plan of attack? There's a saying that those that fail to plan to fail. So plan out your day and then work your plan. And also, whatever you deem priority, for me, family is priority, faith is priority. Are you even scheduling that out into your dream calendar? So I have my faith time, I have my quiet time. It's like blocked off for me. Can't be on my phone. I have my family time where I turn off my phone and I'm just present with my wife and present with my son. So start to reorient your calendar. Give yourself some wiggle room. This is not meant to be a religious, like, clock in, clock out thing, but you want to make sure, at least in the course of a day, you have things that are intentional that will drive you to the results that you're looking for in all aspects of your life. Does that make sense? I hope these are super simple takeaways to do. And finally, what you do is every day you have your calendar, but also understand every day is its own separate battle. So every day, prioritize a couple of your most important tasks. What I notice is when you get stressed out, overwhelmed, when you feel like you want to quit on your goals, it's because, quote unquote, life takes you away from actually doing the things that'll move the needle forward. So the way to counter that is like what Brian Tracy said, is to eat that frog. So every day you have your calendar, but also list out a couple of your top most priority items. What are the things you have to do today to move the needle forward in your business? Maybe it's a prospect call. Maybe it's a certain post. Maybe today is just something you absolutely have to do. How about for your family? What are things that you need to make sure that you do today? How about for your health? The needs, the musts. Put that down as a priority list. And I literally jot it down and I look at that. And when I start my day, before I respond to life, I'm in a business. So every day I have 1,000 notifications. Are you like that too? You have Facebook notifications, you have emails that go off, you have text messages, you have Messenger, WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram. It gets crazy. You get inundated by all these things, and we end up being in a reactive mode rather than a responsive mode. Here's a key tip, by the way, to know: are you reacting to life or responding? If you feel like you start your day in stress, if you feel like all you're doing is putting out fires every single day, more than likely you are not designing your day. There are things that can wait. Yes, there are some things that might seem urgent. For example, for me in my business, I have people that ask me questions all the time, and I love questions. My temptation is I will skip my most priority items of the day to answer that question because let's be honest, it makes me feel productive and it's a lot easier to do than those hard things. But what happens is if I give in to that temptation and if I compromise my own disciplines, then I will let go of the most important things that I'm doing in my business that will actually help that person that's asking the question more. Instead of solving the root problem, I'm actually just putting a band aid on the wound. So, what do I need to discipline myself with? I will only respond to certain questions after I make headway on my most priority items for the day. Does that make sense? It's okay to put some time off on things. It's okay to respect your time in that way. It's the most important thing that we, as our own leaders, as a champion, are able to do the most productive, prioritize things every day. And then the other stuff will fill in. So prioritize your list every day and then take massive, immediate action on those and then get to the rest of your stuff. Okay? So, International Quitters Day, it's a real thing. Most people fall victim to it. That's why most people set goals and they fail them, or most people even fail to set goals anymore because they failed them too much. But if you understand that there's patterns that you can actually build solutions around, and if you have these habits in mind that can keep you going on, especially when life hits you, people are going to look to you, and this will happen to you. If it hasn't happened already, it'll happen one day really soon if you just keep on staying with us on this Breakfast of Champions call. People are going to look to you and they're like, Sarah, it looks like nothing stops you. John, it looks like nothing can take you down. Where does this resilience come from? How are you succeeding? How does it look like you can take on the world and you still have a smile on your face? You know what it is? It's because you took down these notes when life does hit, when life tries to derail you, when you are tempted to quit on International Quitters Day, where you ask yourself again, are your goals really worth it? And you answer resounding yes, or you retune your goals and you double down. Where you label out your barriers and the stumbling blocks, where you write out your schedule and put it onto a calendar, where you reorganize and optimize it, and then you prioritize it and then act on it. Because you have this method of operation, you're able to pivot, you're able to respond, you're able to just do things in a different way that are going to lead you to astounding results. And you too will be absolutely inspiring. All right. So I hope that this was encouraging. By the way, if you missed this plus anything else on our Breakfast of Champions call, go to bocpodcast.com. I hope that you're committed to this. If you are, to continuing to go towards your 2025 goals as I am, put a 2025 in the chats below or let someone know about that commitment. And let's do this together. Let's continue to embark on this year of freedom because your goals, people are depending on us to be able to achieve them. All right, everyone. Other than that, grateful to have you on here today. Feel free to unmute yourself and have an amazing day.